And welcome back, footy fans, to another episode of Donnie's Disposals. I'm your host, Coach Donnie Hess here, back with, we have come to it, ladies and gentlemen, the off-season supporter series. You guys know, once the footy has ended, the women's and the men's, I like keeping footy alive a little bit. So I want to sit and talk with fans. I want to know what people's fandoms are like. And this year, I have a very, very special set of series because the blokes usually get the fun. Most of the time, they're the ones that want to talk to footy. This year, I want to talk to the ladies. I want to talk to some mad female footy fans. So this year, my supporter series will be hopefully all 18 clubs and a footy mad female fan. And joining me today to start off the series, we have a lovely fan joining me from the Gold Coast. We have Rebecca. Rebecca, thank you for hopping on the podcast and welcome to the show.
Hello, it's so lovely to be here.
Awesome, awesome. So here we go. Let's jump into it. Before we get into the footy, before we get into why we're here, if you want, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself outside of the game of football?
I am a writer and I also do some volunteering to help some charities do their social media stuff.
Fantastic, fantastic. So let's jump right into it. For somebody on the Goldie, I'm fascinated on this. What is your favorite thing about the sport of Aussie rules football?
I grew up a rugby league supporter because I was born in New South Wales.
Hmm.
So, switching to AFL, I love how fast it is in comparison and that you're always in it all the way to the end. Like, there's still structures and things, but it's still a lot more free flowing, and that's exciting.
Fascinating, fascinating. So I gotta, okay, so as a New South Wales woman and now living in the Goldie, I'm interested on this. What is your first footy, Aussie rules football footy memory?
My first ever footy memory is um, the Brisbane 2001 grand final because we had just moved to Brisbane and our neighbors were going off behind us and it was so crazy. And I just have this vision of Michael Voss holding up the cup when I was like 7 or 8. So that stuck with me for life.
All right, fantastic. So this is going to be the fun. We might have given it away by the location of my particular fan. So I'll ask this. Who is your club and why do you support them?
My club is the Gold Coast Suns, and I have sporadically followed them since the start. But when Matt Rao had his cracker of a debut season, he was all over the news in COVID, and I thought I better go check out what this kid is doing and see what the club is up to now. So he got me hooked.
Oh, so Matt Rowell is the reason. That is fantastic. So I'll ask this is interesting as again, being in Gold Coast, born and raised in New South Wales. Does the rest of the family support any Aussie rules football teams,
Um,
or are they still rugby union or rugby league? Sorry.
Um, they do follow AFL. I converted them all. Um,
Love it.
and I got them to get membership this year with me. So I've been going to all the games.
Fantastic. Absolutely love it. So spreading of Aussie rules football again. No disrespect to rugby league. Again, great sport, but still, I love Aussie rules football. It's fantastic to see it spreading in both Queensland and New South Wales. So I'm interested in this again because your club has a little bit less lineage than some of the ones in Victoria. Again, there's no disrespect. It's still a great club. What was the first Suns item you were ever given or bought?
The first gift I ever bought with the Suns, it was like a white t-shirt that was red and yellow and just said Gold Coast Suns on it from Cotton On. Yeah,
Simple but effective. Simple but effective. Absolutely
yeah.
love it. So I'm interested on this because for me, I've always been one of those. Fandom is different for everybody. Everybody fans different. Some are diehards. They go to every game. They live and die by everything that happens. There's some people that they can kind of separate themselves from the sport when it's over. So I'm interested. Tell me a little bit. Describe your fandom of the Gold Coast Suns for me.
It's definitely not casual. I can't do anything casual. If I'm invested in something, I'm invested all the way. And being able to find some other people online from the Gold Coast as well has made it so much better.
Fantastic. Absolutely love it. I love it. Full throttle. Like I said, there are some people like myself that I'm crazy as I'm a Sydney Swan supporter, and I will wake up. And again, maybe it's an affliction that I have over here in the States is sometimes I have to wake up at 2:45 in the morning to watch the game. It happens. The grand final for the AFLW is at 2:45. I had to wake up for it. So
Yeah,
everybody's fandom is a little bit different. I don't dissuade anybody from any of it. I absolutely love it. And again, I love the full throttle passion of every footy supporter. So as I kind of said, this is females this year. So I want to ask this just a little bit again. Unfortunately, I am a bloke, so I do not know this as well as some. As a female fan, do you feel like you're kind of treated a little bit different than your male counterparts when you are at the footy?
Um, in person, I've been incredibly lucky. It's just such a good vibe at People First. Um, all staff, whether they work for the stadium or they work for the club, has made sure it's such a good vibe, and I feel pretty comfortable there. But definitely some loud, crazy fans that if I wasn't with my family, that would probably be a different story.
No, I completely understand it. And unfortunately, sometimes when you get a little bit of liquid courage into some people's inhibitions and ability to think thoughtfully sometimes goes out the door. And again, and that's to everybody, but unfortunately, sometimes that it ruins the vibe a little bit. So
Yeah,
completely
definitely.
understand that. So just I'd love to know for a young female that wants to get in and want to watch the footy, can you give just me a tiny bit of advice of what you do to enjoy your experience at the football?
Um, I always just make sure that I know why I'm going there and one to have fun and one to support the team, good, bad, or ugly. So just focusing on the game in front of me and trying to ignore everyone around me if it's a bit too crazy and just um yeah, just enjoy it.
Be in the bubble of the sport.
Yeah.
It's you
Oh,
tunnel
absolutely.
visioned on the game, which I
Absolutely.
absolutely love it because again, there's dickheads everywhere. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So being able to tunnel vision and to kind of tune it out is absolutely fantastic. Love that
Yeah.
advice. So now let's get into the footy. Let's talk some. As you said, you got into it because of Matt Rowell. So I'm interested. What was the first ever game that you attended live?
I saw Adelaide v Gold Coast in like July 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, and we
Oh,
beat them, so that was phenomenal.
gotta ask, did the Suns win?
They did, yes.
Awesome.
And I was actually sat on the side of the stadium where most of the away supporters sit. So that felt extra amazing. Yeah.
Give it a little. Absolutely. That is fantastic. So as we kind of said again, Gold Coast doesn't have the lineage that it did some. So I'm gonna ask this question just the tiniest bit different than the way I had it. As you said, Matt Rowell was in it. So is Matt Rowell your favorite player of all time for the Gold Coast Suns?
All time.
Yep.
Um, he is definitely up there. And I have an incredible soft spot for Bailey Humphrey. I think he's going to be an absolute star. He is
Mhm.
a star, to be honest.
Awesome. Yep. Nope. He's fantastic. For them to get through the trade deadline and to keep him there, absolutely. Like it's
Uh,
absolutely fantastic. So I think the Suns are sitting very, very, very cherry ripe going into this season. So again, you've had some years on, again, you discovered it with Matty Rowell. So answer me this most memorable moment so far as a supporter of the Gold Coast Suns.
um, I was talking about this with my parents before, and there's so many, but it would have to be the Fremantle final. That was just incredible. like we all cried, we were all screaming, we were like running around our living rooms, and just everyone in the area, whether they followed closely or not, were like was super invested and watching. And I had friends that were like out at the casino, and then they saw the game on the big screen, and it was just everyone was so invested in that game, and
Yeah.
it's something I'll never forget.
Yeah. And then unfortunately, the Q clash the next week probably wasn't his most memorable. But again, I think it was fantastic. And the fact that David Swallow won the whole thing, that the original
Yeah.
son was able to do it, it kind of made it this fairy tale. Again, I have some Fremantle fans. Let's just safe to say I don't bring that particular
Yeah.
topic up when I
Yeah.
discuss it with, but there's a little part of me that cheered when David Swallow did get the point that they ended up that they got and won the game for him. So it was absolutely fantastic. So we've
Yeah.
talked a little bit about it. Again, this was an interesting year. Thoughts on this last season because first ever finals appearance, first ever finals win, and again another year where you see growth in this young team under Gemma Hardwick.
It was so exciting to be a part of and to be able to go to all the home games. And then I was also at that Gabba final that we lost. But the first two goals of that, like, I got goosebumps with how loud it was for like the 13,000 people that had traveled from the Gold Coast up there. So I know the outcome wasn't what we wanted, but just the loudness of the crowd is just something I've never heard before for
Hmm.
those first two goals, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
But this year, it was it was just mind blowing. It didn't feel real. Felt like I was in a bit of a fever dream for it, but
Hmm.
it was so fun.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic. Again, so many years for the Gold Coast Suns. Some of the original fans is that so many years of losses and never making finals. So to make finals this year and then to get the win, I think it was fantastic. It was kind of a cherry situation because you're still building. This is the little
Yeah,
bit of now the players have that taste of what's finals like. What's a finals win taste like? Now they want it more. They want to
yeah,
get back there again. They want to go a little bit
yeah.
further. Maybe get to a preliminary final. We will definitely have to see. So as you said, you're all in. So I got to ask this: have you kept track of the off-season moves? Because the Gold
Uh,
Coast Suns, not only with a heck of a draft, bringing in many of their academy players, but bringing in some really good, talented players, Christian Petrarca and Jamara Ugle-Hagan, now joining the Gold Coast Suns this year.
yes, I've definitely followed very closely. I've always loved Christian Petrarca since I started watching the games closely, and I love Jamara. I love the boldness of the club to take this huge step and help Jamara get back into the game and hopefully back to his best. I think it's so exciting. And the academy players are fantastic. I've seen Zeke around previously. Absolute Nuffy family, the Yulin family, like foundation members. Um, so they have been living this ride all the way. Now they get to play together, and I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, but I think Dylan Patterson is definitely the one to watch.
Hmm. Yeah, he was definitely. I know a lot of people were super high on him. So again, I think they've only made a very good team even that much better. It's going to be scary how good the Gold Coast could be. Which actually, for me, is a great transition to my next question. Do you have expectations on a season? And if so, what are they for next year?
Um, I don't know. I try not to put too much expectation on a team because then less chance I get upset about it. But definitely, well, I was gonna say top eight, but I think this year definitely want top six um for next year. So we're not playing in the playoff situation.
Hmm.
Um, I kind of don't like that, but I'm sure I'll come to love it.
I'm very interested so your thoughts on we'll go question without notice really quickly. Your thoughts on this wild card round or top 10 is several pundits. Your thoughts on this because it adds two more teams into the finals, but again, as you said, it does make that tricky. 7, 8 are now playing an extra game of football.
Yeah. Um, we sort of played an extra game of football this year because of the delay
Hmm.
because of the cyclone. So
Darn you, Cyclone Alfred.
yes. So we have played that extra game in that period of time. So we would be experienced in that. But the thought of us finally getting to seventh and then having to play Sydney, and I love Sydney. They were my first team from when I was a kid. But the thought of Gold Coast making it there and then getting beaten by Sydney and then not being able to play like the actual finals, that would be heartbreaking.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just don't like that for any other team, really.
Yeah, eventually people will stop complaining about it, but you can definitely tell it's ruffled a few feathers in some fan bases for sure. And I get it. And it's a little bit different when it comes to wild card, when it comes to the US sports over here, because there are so many more teams. Like for many of the professional leagues that have wild cards, there's 30 teams. So to go from 8 teams in some situations to 10, it's not as big a jump as an 18 team league that's now having 10 teams in the playoffs. So, or in the finals. My apologies. Don't
Yeah.
roast me in the comments, ladies and gentlemen. I again, occasionally the analogies come out. I apologize on that. So, let's jump to it. I love having a little bit of fun after we talk with the men's. I want to do some. I have this fun exercise, and it's always interesting is how much you pay attention outside of the Gold Coast Suns. For one day, I'm going to install you as the list manager for the men's team. There's all 17 teams, all the players' contracts are gone. You can snag one player from any of the 17 teams to add to Gold Coast to maybe get them over to make them a finals contender next year. Who's the player you bring in and why?
Oh, there's two that I'm really actually there's three that I'm really stuck on that I can't choose. Um, but I think my first choice, I'm from Newcastle, so I think it would have to be Mr. Isaac Heaney.
A good one.
Um, and then I was also really um, tossing up between either Will Ashcroft or Harris Andrews. I
Hmm.
think I think they would be great. Speed and another calm head um, in the back line.
All really good choices. Would definitely make the Q class that much more interesting if had the Ashcroft name shifted over to the Gold Coast. That would be fun.
Yes,
That would be fun
yes, that would be
for
very fun.
sure. So as we are talking, we are a mere less than 24 hours away from the AFLW champion, the AFLW flag winner being crowned. We will do that review later on, ladies and gentlemen. Keep an eye on that. But do you keep an eye on the AFLW? And if so,
I,
your thoughts on the Suns of this season, this last year?
I absolutely do. Um, I it was a rough year. It's been a rough 2 years.
Hmm. I get it.
Because I only saw my first AFLW game last year, so I've only seen them win once in person. So, really rough. But I'm so excited with Reshaw coming in and the appointment of Aaron Phillips. That's absolutely phenomenal. I was trying to explain to my parents the like the equivalent of who Aaron Phillips would be essentially.
Hmm.
And I use Adam Goods as like an
Hmm.
example for them because they know who Adam Goods is. So they were like blown away and we're very excited.
Yeah. Well, and I will tell you this. I'm not sure how much you dive into the draft, but my draft expert that I talk with, he runs a website. He's a huge AFLW and women's footy head. Ava Usher is the number one overall girl this particular year. She's going to be the number one overall. And she is, in his opinion, one of the best women that has ever been drafted ever. And he's been scouting women for years when it comes to it. So you have four, almost five in the top 30 when it comes to when it comes to the Gold Coast Academy. The only thing will be is how does your trade period go? Because unfortunately, I think a few of your superstars, your Lucy Singles, maybe even your Charlie Rowbottoms, may have to go to get the capital that you're going to need to bring in Ava Usher. I think Lappin is another one. Georgia Davies, the fourth of the Davies sisters to join
Yeah,
the AFLW, and I think there's two others. So the Suns are going to be very active in this particular offseason this year. It's going to be fascinating to see what they do to try to get the capital they are going to need to be able to match the bids because many of their academy girls are some of the best in this particular class. So if you can bring
yeah.
them all in, a little bit like your men's programs, I think you got the building blocks for the future. And again, it's a young Sun side. The future is there. Havana Harris again is
Oh,
going to be a
amazing.
very good one. There is no doubt she's going to be one of the best players in the competition in the next 3 years. I can almost guarantee how good she is. And like I said, Ava Usher is one of the best females footy players that my friend has ever seen. So
Yeah.
hopefully the days for the Gold Coast Suns success and the W are very, very soon on that. So I'll ask, and again, it'll be interesting to see how trade period. Do you have a favorite W player for the
I
Suns?
do. I do have a favorite W player. It's probably super basic as a Gold Coast Suns fan, but Charlie Rowbottom is just an absolute beast of a player. Um, I was at her 50th um, game, and it was just incredible to see all her family there. And she's just a superstar.
Okay. Well,
I hope we can hold on to her.
it's going to be interesting because she's one of the ones I think could get you a lot of draft capital. So I'll be very fascinated to see can they keep her there. I know I will say this, and this is not me trying to start anything, but personally, I would trade our first round draft pick this year for the Sydney Swans to get Charlie to have her with her brother down in Sydney. I know I know that's probably not the news you want to hear. Personally, I'd love to see it. I don't know if it'll happen. I think it's going to take more than just a first round pick to pull that
Yeah,
trade off. But it'll
yeah.
be very, very interesting to see on that one. So I didn't do it in our script in our questions that I sent you, but I'm gonna do it for fun because
Okay.
we're doing females. Is there a player, same thing, list manager for the W now? Is there a player in the W you'd love to snatch from another team and bring to the Gold Coast?
Oh, there's so many. Um, love Chloe Malloy, obviously.
Hmm.
Um, but Erica O'Shea is actually my favorite AFLW player. Um, funny story. When we were first watching, we didn't know any of their names or whatever.
Hmm.
So they said like Irish woman or something
Hmm.
in the commentary. So me and my dad have called her Fast Irish Girl since we started watching um, a few years ago, shortened to Fig. So every time we're watching a North game, we always say go Fig. Um, and she also really helped my dad get into watching the women's game because he saw how good Erica was and her speed. And I think she would be phenomenal for the Gold Coast, but I doubt she would ever leave North Melbourne. But
Well, I'll tell you this. You actually do have a very fast, very good Irish woman on your list already, in Neve McLaughlin. I
we
think she's
do.
she's incredible. Absolutely love Neve to death. Her ability to go into the midfield this year, I think, really helped a
Helped.
young midfield that struggled a little bit. But you've already kind of got one there. But I completely agree with you. I think Erica O'Shea is a hidden gem for North Melbourne. I know that I talked with one of the Irish recruiters that helped bring her over, and I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that maybe I'd love to get Erica on the podcast because I agree. I think she is absolutely sensational. So
Yeah.
let's go to it. I want to have some fun. My final three questions are more about you as a fan. And this is more is because, as I've told a lot of people, I have never been to Australia. It is on my bucket list. I want to do it as soon as I possibly can. So I'm doing a little bit of research with the next couple of questions. So the first one is, and let's go to People's First Stadium. What
Yeah.
is your go-to food at People's First?
Um, Honestly, you have to get a sausage roll. Um, but they also have Zamburo. Came on as one of the sponsors this year, which is like a Mexican
Mhm.
place. So just up from where I sit, they have their own shop, and you can't go wrong with Zamburo.
Awesome, awesome, absolutely love it. So, and then for me, it's like it's all about the seat because this is a massive field. You always got to get the best possible place. So for you, what is the ideal place to sit to watch the footy?
Um, I have an incredible spot because I have a wheelchair. I have a wheelchair spot. So I am right on the 50, right behind the away supporters bench. So that's pretty good. But when I watch the women, I go up to where the Suns run out, and that's also on the 50 at the other end. So that would be my spot of choice.
Fantastic. Absolutely love it. And this is fun because I've put together a list on this. Every episode, I always end with this question just because I love the game of footy. I love watching the game of footy. I watch Sandful, I watch Waffle, I watch VFL, I watch women's under 18 NAB games. Anytime I can watch some footy, I'm gonna watch it. So I'll ask you, what is your favorite game of football you have ever seen? Doesn't matter, live on the telly, years ago, 10 minutes ago, who cares? Favorite game of football you have ever seen?
Oh, there's so many. I might give you a few here.
I'll
Um,
let you go.
2005 grand final, Sydney Swans, because that's where I was living at the time. Um, we were with a big AFL Swans family, so to be there when they broke their drought and everyone was crying, and it was amazing. Um, and also Leo Barry, come on, so good.
Hmm.
Um, One that I've seen on the television, Suns related. Their comeback against Richmond in 2022 when Noah
Hmm.
Anderson kicked after the siren. Incredible, because I almost turned that game off. So glad I didn't. And the best one I've seen in person, it would have to be the Collingwood vs Suns game this year at People First. Just the energy, and they were trying to get the Collingwood chant going, and they did. And then we got back in front, and they were all silent, and it was just incredible.
Absolutely love it. Anytime you can end an episode with the silencing of the Collingwood chant, have to say that is fantastic. Well, Rebecca, that is all of my questions. Again, this is fantastic. I've been so excited for this series. I cannot wait to talk with some of these fantastic female fans. Many of them I've gotten to know online. I cannot wait to sit down and chat with it. You have started this episode, this series off fantastically. Thank you so much for hopping on the podcast and sharing your love of the Gold Coast Suns with me.
It was my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this episode of Donnie's Disposals. Again, keep track of it. As I kind of said earlier, we have the women's finals, the finals, and the season review show still to come. The women's draft will eventually come in the trade period. And as I said, the rest of this supporter series, I have some cracking ladies that I cannot wait to sit down and chat. So I cannot wait for this. So that is going to do it for this episode of Donnie's Disposals. And we'll be back with more footy coverage very, very soon.